And one thing I wanted to talk about today, is thinking about in all the really powerful stories and testimonies we've heard that oftentimes women, in addition to doing these things, are responsible for caretaking, right? So, while we're being harassed by those construction workers, we're walking home, rushing home often to feed our brothers and sisters that we're responsible for, right? So while we're dealing with being immigrants, xenophobia, the oppression that comes along with maybe being undocumented, we're also running with our mothers to the doctor's office to be translators.
That's right.
Right? So while young moms are dealing with being young moms, we're also cleaning up beer bottles maybe from our uncle, making sure people are coming in safe at night. And this often adds, undue pressure in our own lives, right? Potentially, pushing us out of school, forcing us to get, jobs, second, third jobs, working late into the night while we're still responsible for caretaking, right? And oftentimes, it isn't considered or looked at as a burden or a gendered form of oppression because we're expected to do it, right? It's women's work. It's supposed to be a labor of love, right? And if we say anything about it, then people be feeling some type of way, like we don't love them, or we're not caring, or maybe we want to sleep in and not have to wake up at 6 a.m. and make sure everyone gets to school on time, right? And even when we ask for help, there's often little help to be provided. So we're doing all of this at the intersection of being criminalized, right, seen as being aggressive, and often facing higher health disparities, both emotional and physical, sometimes due to over-caretaking, right, being superwomen. Right, having superwoman syndrome. So for example, in my life, right, I am economically responsible and socially and emotionally responsible for an uncle of mine who's locked up. He's facing a 10-year sentence, but he's actually been incarcerated for most of my life. Right, so I'm the third generation of woman in my family to support him. My mother has supported him. My grandmother has supported him. Right, they don't want to do the visits anymore, and that's okay, right, because sometimes we all need breaks. Right, but when people talk about, specifically around criminalization, I've never been behind bars, but I am the person who still is getting searched when I go visit him. Right, I am the person that still has to come up with the money to put on his books. I am the person that's getting the 9 a.m. phone calls talking about, I need a package for this, or can you send me that? And I'm a student, right? So thinking about doing that type of caretaking adds pressure. And it's not because I don't love him, and it's not because it's not a labor of love, which it is. Right, but really thinking about how caretaking, because it's uniquely gendered and because it's uniquely feminized, is not looked at as a burden, right? So I want us all to think about, and I know my time is running out, I want us all to think about how every single story that we've heard today also has the added element of women often having to caretake. Right? And thinking about ways not only that we can provide structurally better support for women, right? In terms of thinking about how poverty is feminized, right? Women, like I said, health disparities. So thinking about structural issues that should be addressed in supporting, the thriving lives of women, but also in naming sort of the silenced, feminized ways that women are facing oppression in being responsible for others. Thank you.